Hello, I totally didn't announce this, but I have been behind the scenes kind of working on these challenges that are coming up. So I haven't been very active in this group after I made the change, changing the name from Healing Party to Emboldened Dreamers. Um, and I just wanted to talk about that rather than just, I thought it might be nice to have a video discussion about that rather than just keeping the changes on the text. So I don't expect anyone to join this necessarily because I didn't announce it, but I'm just going to talk like you're all here watching it, and I assume that you'll watch it later. So um, let me just start with saying this group started off with a kind of just a place for me to do free readings. If you remember, if you've been here since the beginning, I've been doing readings. I started off as just doing tarot, and then that expanded into Reiki and then yoga and all these other things. So if you were with me when I was just doing readings on here, I used to just pull cards for you and leave it at that. But that is not really my true work. I feel like my work has this expanded past that, and when our work expands, the output of it, our work personally expands. I feel like the output expands. So this name it was Tarot Healing Party, then it was Healing Party, and now it's Emboldened Dreamers. And I feel like that really, puts together what everyone's been talking about to me one-on-one, in workshops, in this group. It's come up, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? All of us, for the most part, are healers, helpers, people who want to do big things in the world, but don't know how, or we know how, but we're not ready to step out there yet. And so there's certain things that need to happen for us to be emboldened. We have the courage to step out and do those things. So I thought, instead of just this random group just being Healing Party, healing can be so many things, I thought that we would synthesize it, and let's talk about creating our dreams and in emboldened ways. And this group is full of people who want to do big things in the world. I know that, who want to help people who are already in helping roles. So how do we get bolder in that? And how do we, another important word that's coming up is embodied. So how do we embody our own healing and therefore bring that healing out into the world? So those are things that have become really important to me, and the things that I see over and over again in workshops, and like I said, one-on-one, in this group, things like that. Just friends that message me as well. We just don't know the next step. So, and I've been there. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Gosh, there's so much. Where do I start, right? I have just been floating around constantly. I just have had always so many interests. I was a really good student. Anything that I tried to do a really good job at. Perfectionist. I was also always really creative, and I also always felt really different. So I don't, that feeling where you're supposed to be doing something more, but you don't know what it is. You also I felt so different from everyone else around me. I just felt odd. I always have felt that way. And like I wanted more. So I wasn't one to be like, okay, now I get this job. I go to college and get this certain specific job, and then I get the degree. I graduate, get the job, then I get the car, the house, everything. So maybe I've made life more difficult, but I've also had really rich experiences. So my lost soul kind of archetype, I used to kind of be embarrassed about that. All the things that I've done and tried in my life, all the places I've traveled, all the hats I've tried on, I used to be so embarrassed about that. But that is just part of how I found my place here. So this thing that shifted, though, was I was always seeking outside of myself. So when I went to art school, I was seeking, well, I don't know where else I fit in. I don't fit in the university I'm going to right now. I'm trying to squeeze all these majors and kind of make up my own thing. And I found a school that I could do that at, where I didn't have to minor in a million things. So I went to an art school where I fit in. And then I had to leave because of financial reasons. And then I was just terrified. So I decided to get a really practical degree in public health. And so, well, first I was going to be a nurse because I was just terrified. I was like, well, I do now want to have the job and I do want to have stability. I was just terrified. So I did those things. I actually fell in love with public health on the nursing path. Nursing, nope, not for me. But public health, yes. I have always been an activist. I really believe in accessibility, all those things. So it was a good fit. But I still felt odd. I just didn't know what I was going to do. So in the last year of my public health program, I got pregnant. And according to my plan, I was just going to work for a nonprofit. That's the best way to help people, work for a nonprofit, right? I'm going to work for a nonprofit. I'm going to use that knowledge that I've gained and create health programs. And then while I have a new baby and a new job, I am going to get my master's in counseling because I'm passionate about mental health, and I still am. So I will go ahead and do that thing too. So I basically, during my whole life, my interests have made it so I've had to collect different accolades. I had to be this or that. I had to get this certification or that certification, this degree or that degree, in order to feel better about myself. And so my son was born. He was born ridiculously early, 3 months. So after that, everything just fell out the window. I did not care about any of those things. I did not care about where I would work. I already had a job, right? I could pay my bills. I didn't care about working 40 hours a week anymore. Didn't want to do it. I didn't care about saving the world as much, as bad as it sounds. I cared about saving myself and my son. So as a new mother, and any new moms can attest to this, it is incredibly difficult to hold on to your identity. So I felt like I was just, my focus could only be in two directions. My focus had to be, it's windy. Oh, wait a second. So my focus had to be taking care of my newborn son. It had to be. And then the other part was to save myself. I literally felt like I had to save myself. So I could not do anything else. The rest of the world had to wait. I had to save myself. I had to grip onto my identity, grip onto my self-care, in order to be not just a good mother, but to be a human. Like I didn't even feel human at times. So I'm still processing that. My son is only 2.5, so I'm still working through what that was. But the thing that came out of it was, for the first time ever, I decided to put myself first and to actually think about what I wanted and not what would save the world, what would help other people. I thought about me, and I had to save myself. And so this is just little bits of the story, but that's the main theme. I decided to invest in myself. I found this woman, I kind of funny. I found her in a Facebook group, and she's in this group, and she helped me. I was actually very skeptical of anything psychic, anything like that, even though I've always felt very intuitive. I always have. I have a really logical, no BS brain as well. But I found this woman, Jessie. She's in this group, and she read me. She does kinesiology, and it's hard to explain. I don't think we exactly have that in the States, but she read me so well and just read my energy levels on this group. And I was just like, what? How is that even possible? And so I started to invest more in myself, and I started working with her, and I got energy work with her. And I'm going to be honest, the first time I did, I kept blowing it off. I'm like, that didn't do anything. That was a waste of my time, whatever, even though I loved talking to her, right? But I'm like, I could talk to people for free, right? No, but I got work with her, and then 30 minutes later, I seriously didn't feel anything during our session. 30 minutes later, I was crying. I was in my bathtub just crying, and all this body image stuff, literally, I just felt it just going down the drain. And I was just convinced then of this work. And I will note that she's in Australia. So I not only had to get over my disbelief in energy work, I had to get over this distance energy thing working. So, but I knew my my intuition was strong enough at that point that I knew that I needed to work with her. I just was drawn to her, and I just decided that, yes, I'm going to go do this. And again, my only goal was to save myself. I was just lost. I was just like, I still always had that kind of like, what's my purpose? But I really wanted the purpose for myself. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be fulfilled. I wanted to have my identity, to be my fullest expressed self. And so yeah, all this practical stuff was in the back burner, and I literally just focused on myself. And doing that with a newborn's interesting. So I started digging back into tarot too, because I couldn't do this long yoga. I've always been involved in yoga. I could not have this long practice anymore. It was not practical. My body wasn't the same. I still love yoga. It's an important part of my work. But this energy work with Jesse, and then tarot cards and just writing, that's all I did half the time. I just found myself through these practices of like investing in myself. So it just hit me, how when you're looking for love, I've heard this a million times, and this actually happened to me too, where you're looking and struggling, you're like on all the dating apps and all that, you're just looking and forcing it, and you're going on these dates, these mediocre, crappy dates, just going to bars, whatever. That's what I used to do, but things have changed, I guess. And you're just like, oh, it's so disheartening. Forget it. I'm just not doing this anymore. I'm just not doing it. Forget it. That's where I was with my life purpose. I just said, forget it. I'm not going to worry about this anymore. I'm just going to worry about myself. And that is when I found my purpose. That is exactly when I found it. And it was not at all what I thought it was going to be. Remember, I was very skeptical. I was very skeptical of energy work. I was very skeptical of a lot of things. I have damage with religion. So I have my brain always like checks everything and makes sure that I'm not getting screwed over, or taken advantage of. But yeah, I found myself I found my life purpose through finding myself and embodying myself completely. So really feeling my feelings, really letting energy work in me. Writing. I've always been a writer, but writing, and if you look at my journals until that point, it's like, what am I supposed to do in the world? What am I supposed to do? I need a purpose. I need to know what I'm supposed to do. I feel so helpless. I watch all these documentaries and just cry, and I watch the news and I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I can't do anything to save the world. And then by saving myself, I found exactly my medicine to save my little realm, and I found that my purpose is to guide other people to that self-realization. So other helpers, other healers, people that want to do huge things, but in the midst of trying to do these big things, are letting themselves be on the back burner. And I realized very recently that it's okay to desire, and it's okay to want a life that makes me happy. I don't have to go scale the mountain and be a monk. Me being a monk was these 90-minute long practices where I wasn't getting anywhere. I don't have to be a monk. I don't have to live, in this way, working for a nonprofit underneath other people to make a difference, So yeah, that's my goal of this group. I'm really, impassioned to help people find their own healing, and in turn find their own healing path, because I really feel like, especially in this group, every single one of us, especially the ones that are really active, have a lot to say, a lot to bring to the world. And it's not like so loud sometimes. I really thought I was going to be running a nonprofit, working in Washington, D.C., writing policy. I don't know what I thought I would be doing, but I thought it'd be really huge. But my circle of influence is really little, and I'm fine with that. I'm actually really happy with that. And it being very specifically healers, helpers. So I would love to bring more of that medicine, I call it, to this group, and have us discuss that more specifically. So sure, I could keep pulling tarot cards, and I could keep, and I do that with clients, and I will do that probably in this group. But the difference is I don't want to be prescriptive necessarily and say, I would rather teach you how to draw your own cards, or teach you how to work through this yourself, and me just be like a guide, you know, if that makes sense. So that is why the name of the group changed, and that is why I'm just I'm really passionate about this now. And I was kind of, I'll be honest with you, kind of not ready to bring that out because you know, that who am I type of thing comes up. Who am I to teach people this, you know? But I swear everyone that came to my office or that I talked to over the phone or on the computer was like the same thing. I know I'm supposed to be doing something else, but this and this and this, you know? People take advantage of me. People do reach out for me for help, but I feel like I'm empty, you know? I feel like I don't know what to do. Or people that have amazing ideas, amazing things to offer, and they're just like, well, let me just research this just a little longer before I do this or that. So that's a whole nother conversation, but there's these things that I see that are just trends, and I see them in myself, and I've seen them in myself, and I've gotten past them just a little bit. So yeah, I'm past them a few years, so I can help with what I have learned in these past few years. And so a lot of that is about what I mean by embodied healing is not just doing the things like I meditate, so check. I did this, check. No, it's like waking up in the morning, putting your feet on the ground. What do I need today? I do believe in ritual, and I do believe in committing to something, but I do believe it has to be felt deeply in your bones to work, you know? So, you know, because of my work with Jesse, I decided to learn energy work myself, and because it's so powerful, it's something that my ego is like wiped away when I work in that way. So my ego is like not in the picture. It's just the energy feeding back from each of us. So I do want to do a little bit of a video of what energy work is, because I don't think everyone knows what that is. And believe me, I was so skeptical. I didn't quite understand it. I still don't understand how it works, but I know it's magical. And then it's also doing things. So I would say this group is full of a lot of overthinkers, right? Like me. So we're always up here. So for me, it's like I'm constantly having to bring things in my body, feel things deeply in my body, allow myself to even cry. Like I didn't even know how to do that for a while. So allow myself to be weak, quote, quote, weak. So there's all these things that I feel like I have to teach that I've learned, I think would be really helpful for the type of person that's in this group. But I haven't been, because I've been hiding behind tarot cards. And so tarot is a beautiful tool, but what I say I'm hiding behind, I'm like, well, yes, my intuition is really strong. I can read cards for you, and I could give you like a little formula to follow, but I want to move beyond that. So that's like just a tiny starting place. That's how I started with Jessie. She read me in her own way. But then I'm like, I wanted to take responsibility for my own healing. So that's what I think. This group is ready to take responsibility for their own healing. And yeah, we can get readings, right? But that only goes so far. So I think that when I mean embodied, emboldened, is like knowing deep in your bones what to do next, knowing deep in your bones how to take care of yourself, knowing deep in your bones this or that is wrong or right. So that to me is more powerful than, you know, the thing I was doing. And believe me, I think that there's a place for card readings, and I get them at least every 3 months just to have some clarification on some things. That's wonderful, but it can't, and most readers would agree, it can't stop there. You can't just get a reading every 3 months and think you're okay. And I don't think this group wants that. I don't think that that is what you guys want. That's not what I want. So I had to change the name so that we could just focus it a little more. So I will open it up for questions if anyone has any. I'll leave this open for just a few minutes. I know I didn't announce this, so yeah, I don't expect a ton of questions, but if you're watching this later, go ahead and ask questions and I'll comment. A little bit about the challenges. I put up 2 ideas I had. So actually, I had a third one, but I just erased the third one because I knew that it was not coming from an embodied, intuitive place. It was just coming from, this is my knowledge and I could share it. It'd be easy for me. But nope, we're not doing that. I'm challenging myself not to do that anymore. So, two main ideas. So, but they're the same thing. One of them is really focused on embodiment, self-care, self-love, like some practices, 5 days of practices that I feel like can be really helpful in uncovering how to embody self-love and therefore get more clarification on your purpose. Your purpose is half the time. So that's 5 days of like exercises, meditations, things like that. We'll be doing that in the group, and I've been behind the scenes making ebooks, and it's fun to do that. I don't know if I will do that again or if I'll hire one of you to help me with it. I'm not sure, but right now I'm enjoying doing that, and so that's why I've been kind of quiet in this group. And then the other one is very ritual based. It's so block breaking rituals, so liberation. Both are liberating, but one of them is really like looking inside of yourself in the body, trying to, the goal is self-love, self-care, you know. The other one is rituals to break past blocks. So I could definitely see us doing both. I'm not sure where to start. So if you guys have any ideas of which one, it keeps like getting tied. So so far I'm working on both. So they'll both be ready to go by September 17th. So it's really up to this group if you guys have a strong feeling. Otherwise, I'm just going to start with one and we'll do another one in a month or so to give ourselves a little break to integrate information. So I will leave it open for questions for like 3 more minutes. See if anything else comes to mind. If you do have questions, you can comment below. I will just jump in also while I'm waiting for anyone to ask questions and say that I am doing a mentorship program right now. And I am doing that in place of just these one-off sessions. And the reason for that is because I would go so deep in these sessions and then I would be like, okay, bye for however long you want to be gone. So instead, people have to commit to working with me for 8 weeks. At the moment, that's the program I've built. 8 weeks, work with me. I would love to talk to anyone who's interested in being one of those people. I can see about 6 people a month, or at a time, I should say, because it's 8 weeks. So I just, so I want to see like 6 people a week. I am working with someone currently in that they're working every other week, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I understand that it can be a lot to work with every week. So either every week or every other week, 8 sessions total, and you do a consult call with me to discuss if you're a good fit, if I'm a good fit for you. So we just talk back and forth. It's an hour long. It's complimentary. So, and it's actually pretty helpful. The few people I've talked to have gotten a lot out of that call. So I would be happy to talk to any of you about that mentorship program. The program so far is called Emboldened Dreamer Embodied Healer. So I might throw school at the bottom of that. I'm not sure. But yeah, Emboldened Dreamer Embodied Healer, because I want to teach both. So how to embody your healing yourself and then bring it back out to the world. So pretty simple, right? So yeah, it's pretty in-depth. So definitely want to talk to me before you just jump in and schedule it. So that's why that call is required, because I don't want people to get confused on what that is. So if you don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and go, but look for the next challenge. I will announce it soon. And yeah, I'm working on both. So both of them will happen sometime this year. Just trying to decide which one first. So love to you guys. Thank you for listening to my story. If you guys have any, I've had a few people ask me how I got here, so that's why I started talking. If you have specific questions, I know some of you might have practical questions of how I got here to where I am. Thunder. I would be happy to answer those, especially if you want to set up a consult call with me. We can talk about those things too. Otherwise, we can open up that conversation in the group. It'd be cool if you asked it in the group rather than messaging me, so that not that I mind messages necessarily right now, but if you ask it in the group, other people can see that question, and you know, you're probably not the only one with that question. So go ahead and ask it in the group if you have a question right now. If it's super personal, you can message me or set up a consult call with me. All right, it's going to start storming. So, all right, love to you guys. Thank you so much for listening to me, and comment below with any further questions. Bye.